The sky turned dark over Seoul at noon. Not from rain clouds, but from something much worse. Giant ships blocked the sun. They were bigger than any building humans had ever made. Dr. Han Jun stood on the roof of the Defense Ministry, looking up with wide eyes. His phone rang nonstop, but he could not look away from the sky. "Dr. Han, we need you in the command room now," said a voice behind him. It was General Lee, his face pale and tight. Han Jun nodded and followed him down the stairs. In the command room, screens showed the same scene from cities all over the world. New York, London, Beijing, Cairo. Everywhere, the giant ships hung in the sky. "What do they want?" asked Han Jun, his voice small in the large room. No one had an answer. Then, as if hearing his question, the ships opened. From each ship came smaller ships, dropping down to the cities below. On the biggest screen, they watched as one landed in the middle of Seoul. Han Jun felt his heart beating fast. First contact. The moment humans had both hoped for and feared. The door of the small ship opened slowly. Everyone in the command room held their breath. But what came out was not what anyone expected. It was not an alien with a message of peace. It was not even an alien soldier with a gun. It was a monster. 6 legs, sharp teeth, skin like armor, eyes that glowed red. But worst of all, its face showed nothing. No fear, no anger, no thought. Just empty eyes that looked around and then focused on the nearest humans. "What is that thing?" whispered Han Jun. Before anyone could answer, the monster moved. It was faster than seemed possible. On the screen, they watched as it tore through the crowd of curious people who had gathered near the ship. Blood sprayed on the camera lens. "Cut the feed," shouted General Lee. But it was too late. Everyone had seen enough. More monsters came out of the ship. Then, from the other ships in other cities, the same thing happened. It was not random. It was planned. It was an invasion. "Get me the president," said General Lee, his voice hard. Han Jun could not move. His mind tried to make sense of what he had seen. These were not aliens coming to talk. These were weapons. Living weapons. "Dr. Han." General Lee's sharp voice broke through his thoughts. "We need your expertise now. What were those things?" Han Jun was the head of the Alien Defense Initiative, a program most people had laughed at. No one was laughing now. "They're biological weapons," he said slowly. "Engineered creatures made for war." "How do we stop them?" Han Jun had no answer. For 3 days, the world tried to fight back. Tanks, jets, bombs, guns. Nothing seemed to work well enough. The creatures felt no pain. They did not retreat. They did not rest. They just killed and moved on to kill more. On the 4th day, the president was dead. Half the world's major cities were under attack. The creatures were everywhere, and more ships kept coming. In the emergency bunker under Seoul, Dr. Han worked without sleep. He studied the one creature they had managed to capture. It had taken 20 soldiers to bring it down, and 15 of them died doing it. Under his microscope, Han Jun saw the truth. The creature was made, not born. Every part of it was designed for killing. But the most important thing was what was missing. "There's no sign of higher brain function," he told General Lee. "They don't think. They don't feel. They just follow orders." "Soulless," said General Lee, looking at the dead creature on the table. Han Jun nodded. "They are weapons with no souls." General Lee's phone rang. His face grew even darker as he listened. "Incheon has fallen," he said after hanging up. "The creatures are heading this way." Han Jun looked at his research notes. An idea was forming in his mind. A terrible, desperate idea. "General," he said slowly, "if they fight with creatures that have no souls, maybe we need to fight back with creatures that do." Outside, the sounds of battle grew closer. They were running out of time. 3 months passed. The world was broken. Cities burned. People hid underground. The creatures, which people now called Vesh hunters, controlled the surface. In a secret lab deep under Seoul's ruins, Dr. Kim Da worked without rest. Dark circles marked his eyes. His hands shook from too much coffee and too little sleep. Next to him, Dr. Park Minna checked data on a screen. "Look at this," she said, pointing to a scan of the creature's brain. "It's so simple, like an insect's brain, but bigger." They had been studying the dead Vesh hunter for weeks. The lab was one of the few safe places left. The thick walls kept them hidden from the creatures above. "They made these things to follow orders and kill," said Dr. Kim. "Nothing else. No feelings. No thoughts. Just killing machines." Dr. Park nodded. "That's why they never stop. They don't get scared. They don't feel pain. They just keep coming." The door opened. General Lee Hyun walked in, looking older than his 50 years. The war had aged everyone. "Any progress?" he asked. Dr. Kim showed him the brain scans. "We know how they work now. The aliens, the real Vesh, they made these creatures in labs. They took the best parts from Earth's predators and made the perfect killer. But knowing how they work doesn't help us kill them," said General Lee. "Our weapons are getting less effective. The new ones have thicker skin. They learn from our attacks." "They evolve," said Dr. Park. "The Vesh are making them better." General Lee sat down heavily. "We lost another city today. Busan is gone. Our best soldiers fought for 3 days without sleep. They killed many creatures, but in the end, they still lost." The room went quiet. Busan had been their last major port city. Now they had no way to bring in supplies from overseas allies. Dr. Kim looked at his notes. An idea had been growing in his mind for weeks. A dangerous idea. Maybe now was the time to share it. "What if we fight them the same way?" he asked. General Lee looked up. "What do you mean?" "They use biological weapons against us. What if we create our own?" Dr. Park stared at him. "You want to make monsters like theirs?" Dr. Kim shook his head. "No, not like theirs. Better than theirs." He pulled up files on his computer. Plans, designs, ideas he had been working on in secret. "Their creatures have no souls," he said. "No minds. No will of their own. That's their weakness." He showed them his designs. Human bodies, enhanced with animal DNA. Stronger, faster, tougher, but still human where it mattered most. "Our weapons will have what theirs don't," said Dr. Kim. "They'll have souls, minds, hearts. They'll fight not because they're made to, but because they choose to." General Lee studied the plans. "Can you really do this?" "With the right people, yes," said Dr. Kim. "We need volunteers, soldiers who are willing to change." "How does this different from what the Vesh did?" asked Dr. Park. "Creating living weapons." Dr. Kim looked her in the eyes. "The difference is choice. Our fighters will keep their minds, their hearts, their souls. They will be warriors, not weapons." General Lee stood up. His face showed new hope for the first time in months. "How many volunteers do you need?" he asked. "To start, just one," said Dr. Kim. "One soldier brave enough to become something new." The general nodded. "I know just the person. Captain Choi Jin. He lost his family in the first wave. He has nothing left to lose and everything to fight for." Dr. Kim looked back at his plans. "Then let's begin Project Sentinel. While their creatures have no souls, ours will have something even more dangerous." "What's that?" asked Dr. Park. Dr. Kim's face was grim. "Mercy. The choice to give it or withhold it." Above them, the sounds of Vesh hunters searching the ruins echoed. Time was running out for humanity. But maybe, just maybe, they had found a way to fight back. Captain Choi Jin was tall and strong, but his eyes looked dead. He had seen too much death. He had lost his wife and daughter when Seoul fell. Now he stood in Dr. Kim's lab, listening to a plan that sounded like madness. "You want to change me?" he asked. "Make me into some kind of super soldier?" Not just a super soldier, said Dr. Kim. Something new, something that can fight the Vesh creatures and win. Dr. Park showed him the plans on a screen. We will make you stronger, faster, and tougher, but you will still be you. You will keep your mind, your memories, your soul. Captain Choi looked at the plans. Part of him wanted to walk away. But what was left for him in this broken world? When do we start? He asked. The next day, they began. Dr. Kim had a team of 10 scientists. They worked in a special room deep in the bunker. Captain Choi was not the only volunteer. 5 other soldiers joined him. They all had lost everything. They all wanted to fight back. Sergeant Yoon Soo was one of them. He was younger than the others, only 25. His family was trapped in a city controlled by the Vesh. If he became stronger, maybe he could save them. Will it hurt? He asked Dr. Park as she prepared a needle. Yes, she said honestly. But you are strong. You will survive it. The process took 3 weeks. The soldiers were put to sleep. The scientists changed their bodies bit by bit. They added new DNA. They made their muscles stronger, their bones harder, their skin tougher. They put small machines in their brains to make them think faster. General Lee came to check on them every day. Will it work? He asked Dr. Kim. We will know soon, said Dr. Kim. He looked tired but hopeful. On the 22nd day, Sergeant Yoon was the first to wake up. Dr. Park was checking his vital signs when his eyes opened. She jumped back in surprise. How do you feel? She asked. Yoon sat up slowly. He looked at his hands. They were the same hands, but different, stronger. He could see every little line on his skin. He could hear Dr. Park's heart beating. I feel alive, he said. One by one, the others woke up. Captain Choi was the last. When he opened his eyes, everyone in the room could feel something change. He was different, powerful, but his eyes were still his own. Did it work? Asked General Lee, who had come to see. Dr. Kim ran tests. The results amazed everyone. The soldiers were 5 times stronger than before. They could run faster than any human. Their skin could stop small bullets. Their minds worked faster. They could see in the dark. It worked, said Dr. Kim. But there's only one way to really know. A week later, they got their chance. A small group of Vesh creatures found an entrance to the bunker. The alarm sounded. Everyone ran to safe rooms. But Captain Choi and his team ran toward the danger. In the main tunnel, they met 3 Vesh creatures. Before, it would have taken 20 soldiers to fight them. Now Captain Choi moved so fast, he was just a blur. Sergeant Yoon jumped 10 feet in the air and landed on a creature's back. Their new strength let them tear the creatures apart. When it was over, all 3 Vesh creatures lay dead. Captain Choi and his team had cuts and wounds, but they were alive. They felt pain, but they also felt victory. We can fight them now, said Captain Choi. His voice was quiet but filled with new hope. We can win. Dr. Kim looked at his creations with pride and worry. Yes, but at what cost? You're not the same anymore. Sergeant Yoon thought of his family. We're still human where it matters, he said. We fight for those we love. That's what makes us different from them. General Lee called them the Sentinels, guardians of humanity. The first real hope in this dark war. 6 weeks had passed since the first Sentinels were made. They trained every day, learning how to use their new bodies. They were stronger than anyone had hoped. Now it was time for their first real mission. Captain Choi looked at his team of 5 Sentinels. Today we take back Incheon, he said. The small port city had been one of the first to fall. There are still people hiding there. We will save them. Sergeant Yoon checked his gear. He did not need many weapons now. His body was a weapon. But he took a special knife made of a new metal that could cut through the thick skin of the Vesh creatures. Will we find survivors? He asked. We hope so, said Captain Choi. Our scouts say about 200 people are hiding in the old subway tunnels. They moved out at night. The sentinels could see in the dark better than cats. They ran faster than cars, covering the distance to Incheon in less than an hour. At the edge of the city, they stopped. Captain Choi used his enhanced hearing to listen. 6 creatures on the main street, he said. 2 more by the harbor. We take them all down fast and quiet. The team split up. Sergeant Yoon went with Corporal Kim toward the harbor. Captain Choi and the others went for the main street. Yoon moved like a shadow. The Vesh creatures were big and strong, but they were not smart. They did not look up when Yoon climbed a building. They did not hear him when he jumped down behind them. His knife cut deep. The creature made a strange sound and fell. The second one turned, but Corporal Kim was already there. She punched it so hard that her fist went through its chest. "Too easy," she said. But they both knew the easy part was over. Now they had to find the humans. In the center of the city, they met up with Captain Choi. His team had killed the other 6 creatures. "The subway entrance is 2 blocks from here," said Captain Choi. "But there will be more creatures underground." He was right. As they went down the stairs to the subway, they heard the heavy steps of Vesh creatures, bigger ones than they had seen before. "New type," whispered Captain Choi. "Stay alert." The subway was dark and smelled bad. Water dripped from the ceiling. The sentinels moved carefully, watching every shadow. Then they saw it, a huge Vesh creature, bigger than a car. It had 4 arms, each ending in sharp claws. It was eating something. Someone. Rage filled Sergeant Yoon. This was why they had changed themselves. This was why they fought. Without waiting for orders, he attacked. The creature was fast, but Yoon was faster. His knife cut deep into its leg. The creature roared and swung at him. One claw caught his arm, leaving a deep cut. Yoon felt the pain but pushed it away. Pain was nothing compared to what these monsters had done to his world. Captain Choi and the others joined the fight. They moved as one, attacking from all sides. The creature could not fight them all. In less than a minute, it was dead. "Yoon, you're hurt," said Corporal Kim. "It's nothing," he said. Already his wound was starting to close. Another gift from their new bodies. They moved deeper into the subway. Finally, they found what they were looking for, a barricaded door. Behind it, the sounds of people. "We're here to help," called Captain Choi. "We're human." Slowly, the door opened. Inside were nearly 200 people. Thin, scared, but alive. They looked at the sentinels with fear at first, then hope. Among them was a woman doctor. Her clothes were dirty, but her eyes were sharp and clear. "I'm Dr. Kang Min," she said. "Are you from the Resistance?" "We're from Project Sentinel," said Captain Choi. "We've come to take you to safety." Dr. Kang looked at them closely. "You're different." "We are what humanity needed us to become," said Sergeant Yoon. "And we're just the first." For the first time in months, the survivors smiled. Hope had returned to Earth. Word of the Sentinel's success spread fast. The rescue at Incheon gave people hope. Dr. Kang Min joined the team at the underground lab. She knew about brains and helped make the Sentinel process better and faster. "Your work is amazing," she told Dr. Kim and Dr. Park as she looked at their research. "But I think I can make the neural implants more stable." With Dr. Kang's help, they could make new sentinels in just 10 days instead of 3 weeks. Soon they had 3 full teams ready for battle. General Lee planned a big attack. First, they would take back cities in Korea. Then they would help other countries. The sentinels would lead the way, with regular soldiers behind them. "The Vesh don't expect us to fight back," said General Lee. "That's our advantage." The first big battle was for Daegu. 50 sentinels attacked from all sides at once. They moved so fast that the Vesh creatures could not keep up. Regular soldiers came after them, securing each area the sentinels cleared. Sergeant Yoon fought harder than most. He knew his family had been in Daegu when it fell. He still hoped to find them. In the middle of the battle, he saw something strange. A Vesh creature was running away. They never ran away before. "Captain, they're retreating," he said into his radio. "Same here," said Captain Choi from another part of the city. "They're falling back to their ships." By the end of the day, Daegu was free. It was the first major city taken back from the Vesh. People came out of hiding, thin and scared but alive. Sergeant Yoon searched for his family, but did not find them. Captain Choi put a hand on his shoulder. "We'll keep looking. We'll free every city." In the days that followed, the pattern repeated. The sentinels would attack, and the Vesh creatures would fight, but eventually retreat. It was as if they didn't know how to deal with enemies that could think and adapt. Back at the lab, Dr. Park studied the bodies of dead Vesh creatures that the sentinels brought back. "Look at this," she said to Dr. Kim and Dr. Kang. "The new ones have thicker skin and stronger muscles." "They're changing their creatures," said Dr. Kim, "trying to make them better." "But they're still missing what makes our sentinels special," said Dr. Kang. "They can't give their creatures real minds." On a big map in the command center, General Lee marked each city they took back. Korea was almost free. China and Japan had started their own sentinel programs. Europe was fighting back too. For the first time since the invasion began, humans were winning. But the Vesh were not done. Their ships still hung in the sky. And they had one more trick. It happened during the battle for Busan. Captain Choi and his team were fighting when the ground shook. From a Vesh ship came something new. It was as big as a house, with armor that regular weapons couldn't hurt. It walked on 6 thick legs and had guns built into its body. "Fall back," shouted Captain Choi. But it was too late for some. The giant creature fired, and 3 sentinels died instantly. The battle turned bad quickly. Even the sentinels couldn't hurt the new creature. They had to retreat for the first time. In the emergency meeting that followed, General Lee looked grim. "They've created a new type of war machine," he said, "bigger and stronger than anything we've seen." Dr. Kim studied the videos of the battle. "We need to adapt too. Make our sentinels even better." Dr. Kang nodded. "I have some ideas, but they're risky." Sergeant Yoon stepped forward. "I'll volunteer. Whatever it takes." Captain Choi joined him. "We all will. This is our world. We won't let them take it." The war had entered a new phase. The Vesh had shown they could adapt. Now humans had to prove they could adapt faster. Dr. Park worked day and night. The lab was filled with parts from dead Vesh creatures. She had to understand how they were made to find a way to beat them. "Look at this," she said to Dr. Kim and Dr. Kang. She pointed to a strange device found in the head of a Vesh creature. "I think this controls them." Dr. Kang studied it carefully. "It's like a radio receiver. The Vesh must send signals to tell their creatures what to do." This was important news. If the creatures were controlled from the ships, then maybe they could block the signals. But Dr. Park had found something even more important. After studying many dead creatures, she had noticed small pieces of metal in all of them. She traced these to a large Vesh ship that had crashed in the mountains. "We need to see that ship," she told General Lee. "I think I can learn how the Vesh think." A team of sentinels, led by Captain Choi, went to the crash site. The ship was mostly destroyed, but parts of it were still intact. They went inside carefully. "Stay alert," said Captain Choi. "There might still be creatures here." Sergeant Yoon moved ahead. The inside of the ship was strange. It was made for beings much smaller than humans, or the Vesh creatures. In a room at the center of the ship, they found something surprising. A small, thin body. It wasn't a war creature. It had a big head and small arms. It was dead, but it didn't die in the crash. It had been dead much longer. "I think this is a real Vesh," said Captain Choi. He took pictures to send back to the lab. They searched the rest of the ship and found more dead Vesh. None were bigger than a human child. They looked weak and fragile. Back at the lab, Dr. Park was shocked by what they found. "The real Vesh are not fighters. she said as she studied the pictures. They're small and weak. That's why they made the war creatures. Dr. Kim nodded. They don't fight their own battles. They send their creatures to do it for them. This changed everything. If they could get past the war creatures and reach the Vesh themselves, the war might end quickly. General Lee called a meeting with all the top sentinels and scientists. We need to get to the Vesh command ship, he said. It's the biggest one, still hanging over Seoul. If we can capture or kill the Vesh leaders, we might end this war. Everyone knew this would be the hardest mission yet. The command ship would be guarded by hundreds of war creatures, including the new giant ones they couldn't beat yet. How do we get past those big creatures? Asked Surgeon Yoon. Dr. Kang stepped forward. I've been working on a new weapon. It targets the control signals the Vesh use. It might shut down the creatures for a short time. How short? Asked Captain Choi. Maybe 5 minutes, said Dr. Kang. After that, they'll change their signals and the creatures will work again. 5 minutes wasn't much time, but it might be enough. We need to send our best team, said General Lee. A small group to sneak onto the ship during those 5 minutes. Captain Choi stood up. I'll lead it. I need 5 volunteers. Every sentinel in the room raised their hand. Captain Choi chose the ones he knew best, including Surgeon Yoon. This mission might be one way, warned General Lee. The chances of coming back are small. Captain Choi looked at his team. We know the risks, but this could end the war, save what's left of our world. As they prepared for the mission, Surgeon Yoon looked at a picture of his family. I'll find you, he whispered. When this is over, I'll find you. The most dangerous mission of the war was about to begin. The Sentinels would take the fight directly to the Vesh themselves. The Vesh struck before the humans could launch their mission. It happened at dawn. 6 large ships moved into position over the mountains where the human base was hidden. They found us, said General Lee as alarms rang through the base. Everyone to battle stations. The attack was bigger than anything before. Hundreds of war creatures dropped from the ships. Among them were 20 of the giant tank-sized monsters they couldn't beat before. All sentinels rushed to defend the base. Captain Choi led the first team out. Hold them at the outer walls, he shouted. Don't let them reach the lab. The battle was fierce. Even with their enhanced bodies, the sentinels struggled against so many enemies. The regular soldiers helped as much as they could, but their weapons did little against the biggest creatures. Inside the lab, Dr. Kim, Dr. Park, and Dr. Kang worked fast to save their research. Download everything, said Dr. Kim. We can't let them destroy our work. Dr. Kang grabbed the signal device she had been working on. It's not fully tested yet, but we might need it. The walls shook as something big hit the base. Dust fell from the ceiling. We need to get to the backup base, said Dr. Park. They packed what they could carry and headed for the escape tunnel. But before they could reach it, part of the ceiling collapsed. A large piece of concrete fell on Dr. Kim, trapping him. Go, he shouted to the others. Take the research. I'll catch up. Dr. Park didn't want to leave him. But she knew the research was more important than any one person. She and Dr. Kang continued to the tunnel with the data. Outside, the battle was going badly. The Sentinels fought with everything they had, but there were too many enemies. Surgeon Yoon had killed 12 war creatures, but was now facing one of the giant tank monsters. These things don't feel pain, he said to himself, but they must have weak spots. He jumped on its back and stabbed his knife into what looked like a joint between armor plates. The monster roared and tried to throw him off. He held on and kept stabbing the same spot. Finally, something gave way and the monster fell. But as he jumped clear, another war creature caught him with its claws. He felt sharp pain as they dug into his leg. Captain Choi appeared just in time, killing the creature. Fall back to the inner walls, ordered Captain Choi. We can't hold them here. The sentinels pulled back, fighting all the way. Half of them had died already. The rest were hurt, but they kept fighting. In the lab, Dr. Kim worked to free himself from the fallen concrete. He could hear the battle getting closer. He knew he wouldn't escape in time. Looking around at what remained of their research, he had one last idea. He pulled out his personal files, research he had been doing in secret. It was a more extreme version of the Sentinel process, one that would make them even stronger, but at a cost. "This might be our only hope now," he said as he sent the files to Dr. Park's computer. Just then, the lab door burst open. 3 war creatures entered. Dr. Kim faced them without fear. "You have no souls," he said. "That's why you'll lose in the end." At the escape tunnel exit, Dr. Park and Dr. Kang met General Lee and some soldiers. "Where's Dr. Kim?" asked the general. "Trapped in the lab," said Dr. Park, her voice breaking. "He told us to go ahead." A loud explosion came from the direction of the lab. They all knew what it meant. "We've lost the main base," said General Lee. "But we saved most of our people and research. We'll regroup at the backup base." As they drove away, Dr. Park checked her computer and found Dr. Kim's final message and research files. "He sent something," she told Dr. Kang. "His secret project." She opened the files and read quickly. Her face went pale. "What is it?" asked Dr. Kang. "A way to make the Sentinels much stronger," said Dr. Park, "but at a terrible price." The backup base was smaller than the main one. It was built inside an old mine, deep under the mountains. The survivors gathered there, licking their wounds and counting their losses. Dr. Park showed Dr. Kim's last research to General Lee and Captain Choi. They sat around a small table, faces grim in the dim light. "He found a way to make the Sentinels much stronger," explained Dr. Park, "but it pushes the human body to its limits. The person might lose some of their memories or emotions. They could become more like the Vesh creatures," said Dr. Kang. "Strong but empty." Captain Choi studied the research papers. "How much would they lose?" "It's hard to say," said Dr. Park. "The strongest emotional connections might remain. Love of family, duty to others, but smaller things could fade." General Lee looked tired. His face was lined with worry. "We're running out of options. The Vesh know we're fighting back now. They'll hit us harder." After long talk, they decided to try Dr. Kim's new process, but only with volunteers who knew the risks. Captain Choi was the first to step forward. "I'll do it," he said. "This war needs to end." Sergeant Yoon and 4 other Sentinels joined him. They knew what they might lose, but they also knew what was at stake. The process took 3 days. Dr. Park and Dr. Kang worked nonstop, making changes to improve Dr. Kim's original design. "We'll try to protect their core memories," said Dr. Kang as she adjusted the neural settings. "The things that make them who they are." When Captain Choi woke up, everyone could see the change. He was bigger now. His skin had a faint metallic look. His eyes were sharper, almost glowing. But when he spoke, he was still himself. "I remember who I am," he said. "I remember why we fight." Tests showed the changes were more than they hoped. Captain Choi was 10 times stronger than before. His skin could stop most weapons. He could run faster than a car. His mind worked like a computer. Sergeant Yoon and the others showed similar changes. They were far beyond normal humans now, even beyond the first Sentinels. General Lee's plan was simple but dangerous. The enhanced Sentinels would attack the Vesh command ship directly. Dr. Kang's signal device would disable the war creatures for a few minutes, giving them time to break in. "Once inside," said General Lee, "find the Vesh leaders. Make them stop the war." The night before the mission, Sergeant Yoon sat alone, looking at his family picture. Part of him worried that after the changes, he might not care about them anymore. But the face of his wife still brought warmth to his heart. He still wanted to find them. That had not changed. The next day, they moved into position near Seoul. The Vesh command ship hung above the ruined city like a dark cloud. Hundreds of war creatures patrolled below it. "Remember the plan," said Captain Choi to his team. "When the signal hits, we have 5 minutes to get inside the ship. No stopping for anything." Dr. Kang activated her device. A pulse of energy shot into the sky. Across the city, war creatures froze in place. Their bodies locked up as the control signals were blocked. "Now," shouted Captain Choi. The enhanced sentinels ran faster than the eye could follow. They jumped onto buildings, climbing higher and higher toward the ship. War creatures stood frozen as they passed. They reached the ship just as some creatures started to move again. The signal was wearing off, but it was enough time. Captain Choi tore open a door on the bottom of the ship. One by one, the sentinels climbed inside. What they found shocked them. The inside of the ship was beautiful. Not cold metal, but soft curves and warm lights. It was like a palace. And there, in a large central room, were the Vesh leaders. Small, fragile beings with large eyes that showed fear as the sentinels entered their safe place. For the first time since the war began, humans and Vesh faced each other directly. No war creatures between them. No weapons. Just two species, one that fought with soulless creatures, and one that fought with all their heart. The Vesh leaders trembled as the sentinels entered their chamber. They were small, with thin arms and large heads. Their skin was pale blue. Their big eyes showed fear. Captain Choi stepped forward. He could have killed them all in seconds. Instead, he spoke. "Why did you attack us?" he asked. His voice was deeper now, after the changes. One Vesh stepped forward. It wore a silver robe that marked it as a leader. It touched a device on its neck, and then spoke in basic human language. "Your world has what we need," it said. "Resources. Space. We did not think you would fight so hard." Sergeant Yoon clenched his fists. "You killed millions of us. You thought we would just die quietly." The Vesh leader blinked its large eyes. "Our studies showed you were violent but weak. We thought our war creatures would end resistance quickly." Captain Choi looked around the beautiful room. On the walls were screens showing Earth cities in ruins. The Vesh had watched the war like it was a show. "You were wrong about us," said Captain Choi. "Humans fight hardest when we have something to protect." Another Vesh spoke up. "We offer you technology, knowledge, in exchange for peace." "Peace." Sergeant Yoon almost laughed. "After everything you've done." Captain Choi raised his hand for silence. The old him would have wanted revenge, would have torn the Vesh leaders apart with his bare hands. But even with the changes, he still understood right from wrong. Still knew that more killing wouldn't fix what was broken. "Here are our terms," he said. "You will call back all your war creatures. You will leave Earth and never return. You will help us rebuild what you destroyed." The Vesh leaders spoke among themselves in their strange language. Finally, the one in the silver robe nodded. "We accept," it said. "The war costs us too much. Our war creatures were supposed to win quickly." Captain Choi stepped closer, towering over the small alien. "Send the orders now. End this war." The Vesh leader went to a control panel and pressed buttons. On screens around the room, they could see war creatures everywhere stop fighting. Then the creatures started walking back to the ships. "It is done," said the Vesh leader. Within hours, the news spread around the world. The Vesh had surrendered. The war was over. People came out of hiding, crying with joy and relief. Dr. Park and Dr. Kang watched from the backup base as the Vesh ships started to leave Earth's sky. "Did we win, or did we become like them?" asked Dr. Park, thinking of what the Sentinels had given up. Dr. Kang smiled. "We won because we stayed human where it mattered most. Our fighters kept their souls." 1 year later, Earth was healing. With Vesh technology, cities were being rebuilt faster than anyone thought possible. The war creatures were gone, taken away on the Vesh ships. But questions remained about the Sentinels. Some wanted to go back to being normal humans. Dr. Kang found a way to reverse many of the changes, though not all of them. Others, like Captain Choi, chose to stay as they were. "The world might need us again someday," he said. Sergeant Yoon was among those who changed back. After the war, he had finally found his family. They had survived, hidden in mountains far from the fighting. When he held his wife and daughter again, he cried with joy. Even in his changed body, he had kept what mattered most, his love for them. On a hill overlooking the new Seoul, Captain Choi stood beside a simple stone memorial for Dr. Kim and all who died in the war. The evening sun turned the sky orange and red. "We won because of what they didn't understand," he said to the memorial. "Their war creatures had no souls, no reason to fight except orders. But ours fought for love, for family, for home." He placed his hand on the warm stone. In the end, that made all the difference. Our mercy when needed, our rage when required. These things came from our souls. These things made us human, even when our bodies changed. As night fell, Captain Choi walked back to the city, where lights glowed in the new buildings. Earth had survived its darkest hour. Humanity had faced extinction and found its strength not in becoming monsters, but in holding on to what made them human. The end.